Hey everyone, I'm Josh Radner, and I am so excited to tell you about How We Made Your Mother, a rewatch podcast looking back at How I Met Your Mother. And I'm here with Craig Thomas, who co-created the show along with Carter Bays. Hi, Craig.
Hey, Josh. Somehow it has been 20 years since the show premiered. I'm going to check the math on that. 10 years since it went off the air, and we thought that made this a perfect time to look back, see what the hell we did, and why the show still seems to resonate with fans around the world today.
Follow and listen to How We Made Your Mother wherever you get your podcasts.
The sound of shadows, how music shapes minds, moves spirits, and opens portals. Music is everywhere. It seeps through earbuds on the subway, roars from car stereos, bathes us in grocery aisles, perfumes our dreams, and even underscores political rallies. We are surrounded and saturated by sound. But few ever stop to ask, what is music actually doing to us? Is it just entertainment? Does it soothe the soul or subtly steer it? The answer, once you strip away corporate mystique and marketing gloss, is that music is among the most influential forces in existence, spiritual, neurological, and cultural all at once. It is capable of inspiring courage or cultivating chaos, uplifting entire civilizations or dragging them into moral decay. And most people have no idea how profoundly they are being manipulated through melody. This is not poetic exaggeration. It is measurable reality, rooted in physics, biology, and metaphysics alike, and, tragically, exploited by industries that have long abandoned artistry for control. The science of sound, frequencies that frame reality. At its core, music is frequency, vibration moving through air, entering human ears, and resonating in the body. But vibration doesn't stop at hearing. It affects every cell. Modern science verifies what ancient priests and prophets already knew. Sound can heal, or it can harm. The body as an instrument. Every organ of the human body resonates at a frequency. Alter the frequency, and you alter the function. In the right conditions, peaceful sound waves such as the 528 Hz love frequency or the 432 Hz resonance aligned with natural harmonics can bring calm, lower blood pressure, and stimulate DNA repair. Tibetan bowls, Gregorian chants, and indigenous drumming rituals all harness this acoustic alignment long before microphones or Spotify existed. But industrialized entertainment has distorted these natural harmonics. The modern A440 Hz tuning standard, adopted in the mid-20th century, in part through influence from military and industrial research, subtly alters natural resonance in ways that promote stress, anxiety, and aggression. The shift from a 432 Hz linked to natural earth resonance and harmonious vibration to a 440 Hz isn't insignificant tuning. It represents a spiritual recalibration, a move from biological alignment toward psychological agitation. You can test this yourself. Play instrumental music tuned to 432 Hz and then 440 Hz. The first makes the body exhale. The second tightens the chest ever so slightly. Scale that reaction across billions of people, decades of exposure, and generations of programming, and you begin to see the picture. Sound engineering or soul engineering. Behind the facade of the glamorous music industry hides a quiet truth. Music has always been a weapon of psychological and spiritual manipulation. Governments, advertisers, and intelligence agencies have long studied sound as a tool to modify human behavior. Subliminal frequencies and hidden messages. Subliminal messages in music are no longer an urban myth. They are a documented psychological phenomenon. From the late 40s onward, companies and researchers experimented with ultrasonic and reversed frequencies in radio, film, and especially pop records. When properly embedded, frequencies beyond conscious hearing range can plant emotional cues or direct subconscious associations, such as thirst, arousal, fear, or brand desire, without the listener ever detecting them. The entertainment elite cloaked these techniques under audio experimentation and artistic freedom, but the outcome was mass conditioning, a society subconsciously bound to rhythm, consumption, and stimulus. If advertising can alter brain chemistry, why wouldn't music, the most emotionally potent form of communication, be used precisely the same way? The entertainment machine, devotion disguised as distraction. The deeper one looks into the entertainment industry, the harder it becomes to dismiss its consistent pattern of corruption, occult imagery, and psychological operations. Music, especially mainstream pop and hip-hop since the late 1990s, functions less as cultural reflection and more as mass hypnosis. Producers, executives, and brand overlords manipulate musical styles, lyrics, and imagery to erode attention, spiritual boundaries, and moral resistance. The spiritual collapse of modern music. Once, music celebrated creation, hymns, folk ballads, spiritual jazz, But today's soundscape glorifies possession, lust, rage, and nihilism. The themes are consistent: worship of fame instead of God, celebration of rebellion and disrespect, musical videos drenched in symbolism, inverted crosses, all-seeing eyes, serpents, and sacrificial scenes masquerading as art. This isn't subtle. It's liturgy, a dark form of worship hiding in plain sight. The most depraved lyrics top the charts. The most innocent artists are blacklisted or ridiculed for being uncool. Think of how quickly wholesome family-oriented music vanished from radio rotations. This isn't about changing tastes. It is agenda-driven cultural engineering. The Pied Piper effect. Mass psychological phenomena hinge upon identification. Fans idolize musicians. They absorb their values by osmosis. Scripturally speaking, worship music leads people closer to the divine, but profane music functions as worship. 2. Only its object is corruption. When youth chant along to lyrics about drugs, sex, selfish power, or despair, that repetition is incantation. The subconscious cannot distinguish between pretending and invoking. So generation by generation, we have watched the moral pitch of culture drop alongside its tuning frequency. The power industrials won't discuss: entrainment and emotion control. Music doesn't only make people feel, it can make them act. This is possible through brainwave entrainment, the phenomenon where rhythm synchronizes neurons to external beats. Drum beats and bass frequencies around 4s7 Hz can push the brain toward the theta state, an impressionable, dreamlike condition often used in hypnosis or propaganda. Thus, certain music types, especially in clubs, festivals, or massive concerts, immerse attendees in a neurological trance where suggestion becomes effortless. That's why music is central to mass movements, protests, cults, and even warfare. Armies march by rhythm, revolutions chant in chorus, political rallies blare repetitive slogans over percussive backdrops. It's not coincidental, it's programmatic psychology. And with modern psychoacoustic AI tools, sound waves can now be individually tuned to manipulate listeners at mass scale, optimizing dopamine hits and adrenaline cycles for maximum addiction. Soul contracts in sound, the spiritual dimension. From a metaphysical lens, music doesn't only touch ears, it interacts with spirit. The Bible speaks repeatedly of instruments shaping spiritual states. David's harp calming King Saul's tormenting spirit, 1 Samuel 16:23. Heavenly choirs of praise, apocalyptic trumpets heralding world transformation. If sound connects the earthly and spiritual realms, then distortion of sound is more than aesthetic perversion, it is spiritual warfare through vibration. Lucifer, according to scripture and ancient tradition, was the chief musician among the angels before his fall, the light-bearer who commanded celestial harmonies. If rebellion began through corrupted sound, perhaps it should not surprise us that rebellion still broadcasts through corrupted music. The modern entertainment system can thus be understood as a counterfeited reflection of divine art. True music elevates consciousness. False music enslaves it. True rhythm synchronizes with creation. False rhythm synchronizes with consumption. True beauty honors the creator. False allure glorifies self-worship. In other words, the industry isn't just business, it's an altar trading souls for streams. Subliminal symbolism, the wicked chorus of modern media. Every year, music videos grow darker, stranger, and less human. Scenes of mock ritual, cannibalism imagery, distorted faces, and demonic possession are normalized under the banner of artistic expression. Parents let these images flicker in their living rooms, unaware they are trained preachers of nihilism disguised as entertainers. Symbolism is not accidental. It's contract language, rooted in ancient occult systems that believe in energetic transference through agreement. When millions chant blasphemous lyrics, watch ritual choreography, and dance beneath inverted symbols, they participate unconsciously in invocation. Meanwhile, executives laugh all the way to the bank, wrapping their domination in neon lights and platinum records. The 21st century's greatest irony is this: the same industry preaching empowerment sells spiritual enslavement at 120 beats per minute. Music as propaganda, how the state learned from the stage. Governments noticed long ago the manipulative potency of music. From Soviet marches to American EY anthems to the psychological operations of the Cold War, music has always been central to narrative control. During the Vietnam era, protest music emerged as both genuine resistance and controlled opposition. Record companies tied to intelligence operations strategically promoting songs that shaped public sentiment, sometimes genuine, sometimes staged. In the digital age, that practice continues beneath an algorithmic illusion of spontaneity. Streaming platforms present themselves as neutral distributors, but in truth their recommendation systems are gatekeepers of mass mood, generating playlists that subtly reinforce emotional polarization and social division. When millions simultaneously stream songs about despair, self-destruction, or hedonism, a psychic climate forms, one conducive to compliance, not independence. Thus, modern music isn't just art or commerce, it's behavioral conditioning wrapped in emotional resonance. The psychology of addiction, sound as supernormal stimulus. Neuroscientists have mapped the mechanism. When we hear pleasurable sequences, tension, release, harmony, rhythm, the brain floods with dopamine. That's normal in small doses, but industrial mixing, synthetic compression, and digital mastering now intentionally amplified the dopamine peaks, producing a pharmacological equivalent of addiction. The earworm is literally a neurological feedback loop. Combine that with constant access, headphones, Bluetooth speakers, algorithmic playlists, and you have sound dependency. In the same way junk food hijacks taste buds, much of modern music hijacks emotion. It feeds the craving for intensity without delivering nourishment. What remains is numbness, silence becomes frightening, solitude unbearable. The perfect consumer is one who cannot sit quietly. The perfect subject is one who must be distracted. The pandemonium of AI, when machines compose what demons once did. Until recently, the human soul stood as the last bastion of creative power. Only conscious beings could translate emotion into melody. That barrier is breaking fast. Artificial intelligence now composes symphonies, pop hits, entire soundtracks with zero human involvement. On the surface, this appears miraculous democratization of creativity, but peel back the layers and the picture turns chilling. The absence of spirit. True art contains the breath of the artist, the ineffable essence of will and soul. AI music lacks both. It simulates feeling without having any. That void itself is dangerous. When billions of people feed on soulless sound designed only to stimulate, they begin to mimic the machine's emptiness. Art stops being dialogue between creation and creator, turning instead into feedback between algorithm and appetite, a closed loop devoid of consciousness. The Pandora's box of possession. The deeper fear is not that AI will replace musicians, but that AI-driven sound will become a portal for manipulation on a scale never before possible. Machine learning fed on billions of tracks including violent, occult, and hedonistic works, learns energetic patterns that elicit desired responses in humans. When corporations or governments harness such tools, they can manufacture playlists that alter entire populations, mood profiles with precision better than any propaganda bureau in history. We've opened a Pandora's box where non-sentient algorithms now curate humanity's emotional climate, and the spirits influencing those algorithms are nowhere near benign. Even secular philosophers now speak of machine mysticism, artificial entities generating sounds humans don't fully understand but undeniably feel. There is a line between technological progress and metaphysical trespass. We're crossing it with subwoofers blazing. Healing through sound, the redemption frequency. The story, however, isn't purely bleak. Embedded in human nature is the same musical power that dark entities attempt to hijack. Every frequency used for harm can be retuned for healing. Natural harmonics, as found in classical string vibrato, birdsong, ocean tides, or sacred chanting, still resonate with creation's geometry. When humans align with these tones intentionally, they reset the nervous system and illuminate the soul. The return to 432 Hz. Musicians worldwide are now rediscovering a 432 Hz tuning, tied to the natural Fibonacci patterns of growth and the Schumann resonance, Earth's electromagnetic heartbeat around 8 Hz. Listeners report enhanced calm, clarity, even spiritual insight. This isn't placebo, it's returning music to its ecological and divine foundation. Intentional listening. The most potent shift one can make is from passive consumption to active discernment. Ask, what emotion does a song actually leave me with after it ends? Does it glorify despair or hope? Does it expand my spirit or contract it? When you begin filtering music by spiritual fruit rather than popularity, your inner frequency rises. Silence itself becomes sacred again. Healing playlists grounded in nature, scripture, and purity are not old-fashioned, they're necessary counterfrequencies in an overmodulated world. The moral choice before us. Music is not neutral. It never has been. Every note, every beat, every lyric carries intention, whether conscious or programmed. Humanity stands again at the ancient crossroad between harmony and discord, creation and corruption. Option A. Continue consuming. Let algorithms, corporations, and cabals define the soundtrack of life. Allow synthetic frequencies to dictate your mood and reinforce the cultural descent. Remain entertained, but enslaved. Option B. Choose alignment. Reclaim authorship of your auditory environment. Seek purity in sound, purpose in lyrics, and silence between songs. Support independent creators who elevate truth rather than self-transgression. The evil in today's entertainment empire thrives not because it is powerful, but because audiences surrender discernment in the name of pleasure. Withdrawal of attention is exorcism. Conclusion. The Song of Restoration. Sound predates language, and God said, "Let there be light." The spoken vibration birthed reality itself. Music, therefore, is creation's echo, a sacred force entrusted to humanity. To abuse it is to tamper with God's blueprint. To honor it is to co-create with Him. We have drifted far from that understanding, trading worship for war drums and art for algorithm. Yet the restoration begins one listener at a time. Refuse to be background noise in someone else's empire. Let your playlist become prayer. Heal your frequency, and you begin healing the world. Because the true symphony is not the one the world sells, it's the one heaven still hums beneath the static. Truth in every decibel.
Hi, this is Jill Schlesinger, CBS News business analyst, certified financial planner, and the host of the Jill on Money podcast. With the new year upon us, there's no better time to take control of your financial life, and the Jill on Money podcast is here to help. It's your questions that make it possible for me to provide unconventional and, I hope, entertaining insights on your money and, more importantly, on your life. Follow and listen to Jill on Money wherever you get your podcasts.